Dante today had a topic that is about 0 to 1. Dante, go ahead. Please explain to the guys what you want to
Okay.
talk
Okay, so right now I'm reading a book called 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. It's basically how to create new technologies, new businesses. Um, the thing, though, is a lot of the stuff I'm reading on that seems to parallel a lot with how to get a guy from no lays, incel, no prospects to his first lay. So what I want to talk about here is I want to ask the panel what they think a guy should do, what they've done to get from that 0th lay to their first.
Well, who wants to start?
Well, I guess we could just go around clockwise here, make it easiest. Yeah.
Go
well,
ahead.
well, I mean, what's the first thing that everybody always says? You should be lifting. And why do we say you guys should go and lift?
That's easy. That is the one activity you can do for yourself, by yourself, to improve yourself.
Well, yeah, it's like
mentally, physically, spiritually.
Well, yeah, it's like if you can't do the bare minimum, then what else is any of the other work going to, actually fix in your life? If you can't find the time for a couple hours a week, or go to the gym and get yourself in decent shape, and get yourself into a routine, then nothing else that we say about, enforcing boundaries or making cold approaches or how to talk to people, none of that's going to actually work. So that's rule number 1, right?
Mm-hmm. Rule number 2 for you?
For me, it's just talking to people. Like what I always said is like, if you're struggling, like the easiest way to do it would be to talk to people who are already social for their jobs. It doesn't even have to be in like a flirtatious manner, like I'm a waiter or a waitress or a cashier or like at the grocery store, the bag lady at the grocery store or something like that. You just need to be comfortable with talking to strangers to start off. And then maybe you can escalate it into the future, talking to, somebody at a bar or, you're out on a walk or whatever it is, but you got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Fair point. Nuke just left us again.
Yeah,
Fortunately,
he was bored.
Yeah, he was bored. He's like, man, I'm done with this. Like, I've done all of this already. Like,
I've got Tadashi over here and 2 women tied up in the next room over waiting for me.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Nuke, what would your advice be?
I always go through the mental model part of it. I just say, get over yourself. You're not like, who cares, dude? You got rejected by a girl. No, look around you. No one cares. Mm-hmm. You smashed a girl. Look around you. Still, no one cares. Only the internet. Who the people that discuss life and dating in the abstract are the only people that care. Their ego is invested in it. But I can tell you right now, no one really cares if you get rejected. No one. So first off, that's step 1. Realize that you have one life to live. You can go on the internet and look for answers from people that also are doing the same thing as you, sitting on their ass and waiting for life to give them what they deserve. Or you can go out and take it for yourself. It's all about action, like that's step 1. And then I say step 2 is just forgive yourself and realize like, hey, like you're doing the impossible, like going out and meeting women. How many people do you see? When was the last time you saw a dude go up to a girl and approach? Like, it's very rare, unless it's like a party where everyone's drunk and like, that you have that liquid courage. People aren't really socializing. Like men to women are just in their own worlds. So once you break that barrier, and then after a while you get a little desensitized and you start getting better social skills, you're gonna realize like a lot of people just have a mental block in terms of talking to people, right? So yeah, just always just get over yourself. You ain't shit, and that's okay. You're gonna get rejected. You're gonna get rejected at every point of your life, whether you're 22 and have no skills, no social skills, or you're 35 and you're like top of your game. Some girls always gonna look at you as some kind of weird dork, and then there's gonna be girls that are just like, man, I hope he approaches me. I'm really attracted to this guy. So just numbers game. Don't take it so seriously. Don't take seriously what the gods made for fun.
Oh, I
love that line so much. I mean, to piggyback off of that, I can speak to this from coming from like a TradCon background, as you guys know. And I think a huge, mental hurdle that guys like with my background run into is you're kind of fed this false idea from a young age that, the first woman you're ever going to meet is going to be your wife. And, the stars are going to align perfectly. And if you fuck it up, that's somehow an indictment on you. And they have this expectation like, oh, that's how my parents met. And that's how, my aunts and uncles met. And that's how everybody else met. When really, like, people tend to, romanticize, what actually happened. I mean, if you actually look back at it, your parents, everybody probably went through several, dating partners like over the years, and they probably had a lot of fuck ups and everything. And it could be tough for you guys getting over that mental block. Like, oh, if I fuck this up, this is somehow a, indictment on, my personal worth or my value or something like that. And it could be tough to break through. So you just have to not punish yourself for making mistakes.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Oh yeah, don't beat yourself up. Habibi, what are your thoughts on this?
Dude, just don't be a social retard. Like most of the guys said, just be social. Learn how to speak to people. Uh, I found out that in a setting where there's alcohol involved, it's much harder to talk to people. It's easier to get laid though if there's alcohol involved. Especially if you fit their narrative or fantasy. That happened to me a few times on my trip. Surprisingly, by taller women too. Like I was just
super nice.
the right
Hell
time
yeah.
in the right place, and yeah, dude, these chicks were Amazonians, dude, like German chick, Russian chick. They were like 6'3", 6'4". Like literally, I had to just to look up just to talk to them.
Climbing gear, man. You need that climbing
Oh,
gear.
dude, one of the best lines that I've used. Like one of them, she told me like, I'm taller than you. You don't mind that? I'm like, I told her I like climbing trees, and she just lost it, dude. She was
Amazing.
laughing. And
Yeah.
I literally had to kick her out at 6 a.m. because I wanted to sleep that night. But yeah, like just don't be a retard. Learn how to talk to people like a normal human being. Don't be awkward. Be comfortable in speaking to people, especially women. They're not that scary. They're most likely scared as like more than you.
Mhm.
Well, what I would like, these are all very valid points. These are all very valid points, and they sum up to a nice whole. But separately, they don't bring you from 0 to 1. So what I would say is, if you have an absolute 0, you have like an overweight social outcast who doesn't think shit of himself. And we're not even going to discuss the money and status. We're not going there even. First of all, I would say clean up your diet. That's the number one thing I would begin with. Or it's not even the lifting thing yet. It would be like, clean up your diet. Does your diet consist of like Cheeto dust and Mountain Dew? It's like, stop doing that. Just stop doing that. Get water in you. Get some protein, fats, and carbs in you. There's plenty of info on there on the internet, and if you need my help, you know where to find me. Shameless plug, I know. That's the number one step I would begin. But let's say then you're at 0.25 instead of at 1. Then you get to the physical activity. Not just lift, but if you live a sedentary lifestyle, go for walks, things like that. Like, build it up. So you've got the diet, then you go lifting and some low stress cardio, low intensity cardio. Then, of course, you get to 0.75. It's where you learn to socialize. I've always said this, and I will die on this hill. If you can't open the old man at the grocery store line, don't even try with a chick you think is hot. Don't even try. Learn to socialize with people you don't find attractive, but just learn the skill to be able to hold a conversation, to start a conversation, and most importantly, to end a conversation, because if you don't know that, things can get awkward.